Okay, so we're going to keep those basic antiderivative properties in mind. We're probably going to be adding one, putting it in the denominator, putting it up top for these product rules, unless for some reason we got 0, then we would do ln of u. But it definitely doesn't look like it's going to be an e to the u or 5 to the u or anything like that, because we have a product. We have x cubed plus x times the square root of x to the 4th plus 2x squared. So when we go to do this, the first thing we're going to do is figure out what u is. So u is whatever factor is getting manipulated. So is it the first factor or is it the second factor that's being manipulated? It's the second one. And if you didn't know, you could always try using the first one and you'll see that you don't get very far. But why this one is the one that I choose is because it's the one being put under a square root. So take a number and then take the square root of it and you'll change it. So say your number is 9, square root of 9 is 3. You just manipulated it. So once you pick your u, we want to take the derivative of it. So we're going to find du dx. So derivative of x to the 4th is 4x cubed, plus the derivative of 2x squared is just 4x. And then we need to multiply by our dx to get du by itself. So we want to remember when we do this, we don't take the manipulation with us. We don't bring the square root with us. We just do the expression. And then once we figure out what the expression is for our u, we take the derivative of it, and it should just be a basic derivative because you don't have that square root with you. And now we're ready for the hardest step, which is doing the substitution. So I'm going to take the integral symbol. And the very first thing you want to think about is what's happening to u. So my u is right here. It's x to the 4th plus 2x squared. So there's my u. And what's happening to u? It's under a square root. Well, it's hard to integrate if I leave it as a square root. So I'm going to rewrite it like we did above when we had square roots with our basic integrals. Square root is u to the 1/2. So I just figured out what's happening to u. This whole thing is u to the 1/2. That's all subbed in for. The next thing that I want to think about is, do I have a perfect du? So I'm going to switch colors here, and I'm going to think about what I need for my du. I need a 4x cubed plus 4x dx. Well, I have an x cubed, I have an x, and I have a dx, but I need these to be 4x cubed and 4x. So if I could just put a 4 in here, that would make it 4x cubed plus 4x, and I have the dx over here. I would have my perfect du, but I can't just put a 4 in and make it 4 times as big as it should be. I need to balance it out by doing a 1/4 on the outside. Because 1/4 of 4 is just 1. We did a fancy thing, but we multiplied by 1, so it didn't change the value of anything. So once I have the 1/4 outside, I have my perfect du inside. I have a 4x cubed plus 4x dx. I have my du. After I do all that, this is where it should start to feel easier. This is where it looks like a basic integral. I'm going to write it again down here. I have to take the integral of 1/4 u to the 1/2 du. So just like above, we're going to add 1, put it in the denominator, put it up top. So I'm going to do 1/2 plus 1. So 1/2 plus 2/2 is going to give me 3/2. So I'm going to keep my constant multiple 1/4 outside. And now I'm ready to integrate. I would have 1/3/2 u to the 3/2, but we know we can't have a complex fraction. So 1/3/2, what I would write out front, would end up flipping to be 2/3. Add 1, divide by that power, put it up as your exponent. And then I just need a plus k. So lastly, I would sub back in for x's. When I do this, I'm going to multiply straight across with these fractions just so it's less for me to plug into WebAssign. So in the top, I would have 1 times 2, which is 2, and 4 times 3, which is 12, which of course 2/12 is the same thing as 1/6. So you could simplify it too, but you don't have to. And at least make it less to plug in. 1 times 2, 4 times 3, so I have 2/12. And then I'm going to write in for my u and raise it to 3/2 and switch this to a plus c. And then when I go to write in for my u here, I'm looking up here at what u is. U is x to the 4th plus 2x squared. There is my integration by substitution for the first product rule. So try the next one. See if you can figure out what u is, what du is, and then maybe you can do the substitution. If not, just pop back into the video and check it anyway.